All right, we're a little bit late. Sorry, Jim. God damn it, it's all your fault.
Well, sometimes you just gotta take a shit on something.
What do your neighbors have to say about that?
Nothing yet. I gotta wait for the morning for the reaction. They're asleep.
I tried to tell them, but sometimes you got to shit on people's lawns.
Mm-hmm.
He's right. I really had no argument after that. Well, anyways, we're gonna cover some things. Kind of just going off the cuff this week, like usual, really. But Jim had shared a link with me earlier today. It was about Christina Hoff Sommers and how, like, kind of the tables, like, not really, the tables didn't really turn. SJWs, or like, I want to rebrand them. We'll get into that later. But they always complain about death threats and shit. Well, the second someone notable criticizes them, and we've known this for a long time, it's now just starting to hit bigger magazines and stuff. But as soon as you criticize them, they come after you blood and fucking guts, man. And this isn't just typing some shit on Twitter, right? This is full-fledged going out and vandalizing and seriously taking action, right? And then they believe it seems like they believe they're justified in doing so because they're on the right side of history. But what do you think about all that, Jim?
Well, first off, I have a fucking giant fucking electronic footprint so people can locate me. It's originally done so my kids can find me whenever they get turn 18 and shit. But hell, if someone's got a problem, go ahead, fucking take it to my face.
Yeah, well,
I mean, you don't get a nose this beautiful without having it broken a few dozen times.
well, there you go. So, but what do you think about, like, the hypocrisy from these social justice faggots? Like,
It's just fucking ugh.
is that all it is?
I mean, they try to generate an emotional reaction any way they can, and I do see these fucking death threats and bomb threats and shit as just trying to appeal to emotion instead of logic. You do get a much more visceral reaction from emotion.
Yeah,
So,
well,
it's like, oh, I'll bring up rape, which is something everyone's against. And it's just there's an entire culture of it, which permits it and shit, and it's pervasive in every corner and all this. And that's going to fucking draw a fucking response because, who the fuck agrees that rape's a good thing except for a complete psycho?
yeah, well, I can see that, definitely. But I think that's probably more of the, they learned about it later, social justice warriors, right? But what about these motherfuckers actually going out and tearing shit up and fucking with people? Like, we saw that with Black Pussy, that rock band.
Yeah. But that was more of a fucking, we'll just issue death threats to try to get people to fucking do what we want them to. I mean, like I said, it's just such a fucking reaction to anything they deem outside of whatever the hell their canon is for the week. It's fucking complete bullshit. And you can't even fucking keep up with half the shit they go out and try to, like, spew forth because it just keeps fucking changing. And then they delete things when they realize they look like fucking complete idiots. It's like,
true.
but then, they get upset whenever you call them out saying, hey, look, this was a complete idiot moment. No, that never happened. La, la, la.
Yeah, I'm kind of getting disinterested in these motherfuckers. Like, it's the same goddamn shit every week. And, I mean, it takes on different faces, right? But there's so much more to life than these motherfuckers. And they seem to have taken over to where we have to fucking talk about them. It's getting just laborious. And I just wish they would come to realize that we know what they're up to, right? Like, you're not fooling anybody anymore. But maybe they are, and we need to keep doing this. So,
No.
I mean, I don't mean to put on the conspiracy hat there. I mean, they're out there. They're obviously there. Everybody knows it.
There's a lot of shit here where it just looks like they're vying for popularity because, being cool and popular is the end thing, no matter what generation you're in.
Well, sure. Then that's not my problem. Right? Like,
but you see, it's these methods, and in order to be cool and popular, you have to adapt the more extreme stance, as you fucking see progressing, especially growing up metal. I mean, fucking, you know, you had your historical shit, your dark art shit, and then it fucking went out to blatant just fucking murder, rape, kill, destroy. You know, that kind of like what drove it into different directions there before. Even though there was a philosophy behind everything, or at least, you know, presumed to be a philosophy behind everything.
Well, I
You
mean, these
know,
people definitely
that's
have
the
their,
way the outside would look at it. So they're adapting, and even go before metal is always taking the more extreme stance, like burn the bra, you know. Fucking that's so extreme, so edgy. Tattoos and fucking piercings everywhere. That's so edgy.
right, right. And really, that's still really not my problem with these people. My problem with these people is when they're wrong, they will not fucking even come close to admitting it. Like, then they double down on it, and yet they still maintain this decorum of authority or whatever on shit. And that's just the age we live in. These fucking mediocre motherfuckers have control over shit. And it's infuriating for anybody who sees through it. And that's what started. I mean, there's a lot that started Gamergate, but I mean, if you boil it all down, it comes down to educated gamers who know what it is against these mediocre fucks who don't know, but pretend like they know.
Well, you can also go back for a more societal aspect. I mean, what the fuck's your rich white kid that's bored off his ass or her ass, depending, you know, just fucking bored, having nothing to do because they have everything provided for them. What the fuck are they gonna do?
That's a good point. I mean, a lot of them aren't just well off. These people are really fucking well off. Some of them.
And you look at it, you know, you look at the fucking old school, high school kind of fucking, you know, what was popular. Well, who was popular whenever I was in fucking high school? The kids who had money. And then the second most popular, the people who kissed the asses of the people who had money. You know?
True. And that continues on past high school. Sure. I think it's actually more reinforced in colleges. But that's another story.
Colleges, politics, fucking, you know, it's all about who's got the money.
Well, yeah.
And you fucking...
And that's, just to be clear, that's not a problem. The problem's deeper than that.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to get at is whenever you're fucking rich and bored because, you know, fucking you got nothing better to do, you're going to fucking latch on to something to do that, you know, regardless of what the fuck it's about, you're going to fucking cling to it.
Yeah.
And whenever you sit there and look at it, you know, who doesn't want, you know, equality under the law? You know, we all have the same shot at doing stuff. It's whenever you start taking it to extremes saying, well, we got to, you know, make the people who have an advantage take a step back because I feel so guilty because I'm so rich. Boo hoo.
Now you're getting to the crux of the problem. It's not that we disagree with them that everyone should have a fair shake. Where we disagree is if you fuck the shake up, you should be accountable. And what they're saying is no, because they were disadvantaged, of course they're going to fuck the shake up. So we have to lower the standards. You know?
Honestly, you look at fucking all the old fucking success stories over the years. You know, it's always been conquering adversity. And here they're trying to remove that adversity by making everything fucking mediocre.
What makes it perverted is the same people who overcame adversity are the ones preaching this stupid bullshit. It's like, so if you succeed,
I have to disagree with you there. It's not everyone who has done this. It is a minority. The irony is it's this minority which has done pretty much the most well off.
Well, I mean,
a lot of the people that I've seen that have had these fucking I have struggled against diversity in one stories don't fucking agree with this bullshit because, well, they wouldn't be where they are if it weren't for their adversity.
Okay, but I think there's a small set of those people who somehow get to this point where maybe, like you're saying, they have nothing better to do, so they latch onto this thing and they keep doubling down on it. I think a good example, and just to be clear, I don't think what I'm about to say is exactly accurate, but the new Mad Max movie, where the female takes the lead, and what people wanted to see was a Mad Max movie, and it's getting lots of acclaim, and I haven't seen it yet, so, but they did talk to a feminist about the movie, and that's where people are getting a little touchy on it. So why do you think, I don't know where he started from either, that's another thing, but he got to this really successful point. Now he's kind of starting to preach this same kind of angle, this females are important too. Well, we already knew that, but okay. How does that happen, where people overcome and then they come to start preaching against themselves almost?
It's all an attempt to fucking stay popular.
So they're just trying to...
I mean, that's pretty much what I see from everything. I mean, you look at fucking, you got yourself the Pope. Whenever the Pope says something and a fucking, devout Catholic decides to fall in line, they may raise in fucking status, because they're agreeing with it.
Sure. And that's probably more what it is. Just trying to stay relevant. The guy who made the Mad Max movie, he's like 70 years old. He's probably a really intelligent person. Sees the social landscape and realizes he needs to promote his movie a certain way in order to be relevant nowadays. And that really should kind of alarm people a little bit, that that's where we're at now.
I mean, I forgot the guy's name, but he was preemptively apologizing for anything he may say which will offend people.
Yeah.
And I think that was heavy in sarcasm by just reading it. Very heavy in sarcasm.
Oh, sure. He absolutely was taking a piss all over these people.
That just seemed like, that was fucking pretty sweet there. Just preemptively fucking apologizing for anything offensive I may say.
Yeah, isn't he working on the new Jurassic Park, or had worked on it?
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Yeah,
I haven't really paid attention to the movie industry for ages.
Yeah, I really haven't either. But yeah, it's interesting that there's only a minority of people doing what he's doing nowadays. Whereas before, that was the way to be. Like, preemptive, fuck you. But not nowadays. No, it's more...
Actually, there was no need for the preemptive. You just said fuck you.
Well, that's what it is.
Preemptively doing it to mock them, because that's what they desire, is people just to prostrate before anything bad may happen.
There you go. You hit the nail on the head there. So, I guess we kind of went way off there, but because what we're talking about is Christina Hoff Sommers might need a safe space for these people. Do you think there's a possibility of these people becoming violent?
There's always a possibility of anyone becoming violent if they fucking sit there and try to be devout to whatever.
Well, if we look at the riots that have been happening, who's been apologizing for them?
The victims, mostly. The people being rioted against.
Apologizing for the riots?
Yeah, I really haven't. That's at least from what I've seen. Of course, I haven't really paid attention after, the first couple days.
Well, what I was trying to get at is the people who are saying, no, these people should be allowed to riot because they're disadvantaged.
Well, that's what I was saying. The people being rioted against. I mean, seriously.
Why would they say that? Why? I don't...
You actually dissected. It's rich white people apologizing by saying you should be allowed to riot because, fucking it's people rioting against race, as opposed to looking at the fucking actual problem, which is fucking what the police are up to.
Man, this is really just... I don't know what to do with these people. Like, they're just making it worse and worse and worse by never drawing a line and saying this is unacceptable. I don't care what you look like, gender, race, doesn't matter. You're not allowed to do this shit. And I used to be an anarcho-capitalist, non-aggression principle person, but at 29 years old, I realized that sometimes you have to enforce certain things in society. You have to. But by apologizing for this shit and saying, oh, they're disadvantaged or they're this and that, you lower the standard as to what is acceptable. You don't raise the bar at all. You don't make it a safer place. You're actually making it quite a lot more dangerous.
See, there's this anime called Paranoia Agent. And everything's about this little slugger guy that fucking goes around and fucks shit up. But if you actually watch all the euphemisms and shit and pay attention to everything happening in the background, and all the symbolism being used, little slugger is actually just fucking symbol for the quick fix. This is what's wrong with society kind of thing. This is fucking violence in fucking media. This is fucking heavy metal music. Whatever you want to fucking cast on something as a quick fix, that's the problem. We have to fix it, because, it is so clear cut. This is the fucking problem, as opposed to addressing the real problems, which are technically a lot more complex than this fucking quick cure-all,
Well, the quick cure-all in the sense of using violence, I think that's more old hat, because these new people, like we're saying, they're just letting these people fuck around. Like, it's like the new cure-all is to just back off everyone, let them burn the building, let them steal, let them murder, it's okay. There's got to be a balance there. Like, I understand you can't just go around fucking bullying people into fucking submission, but you also can't just like let them walk all over you either. Like,
it's just a huge clusterfuck.
It really is. No, that's no joke. Like, it's hard to talk about all the time.
And like I was trying to get at, it's all about trying to grasp that quick fix solution, which is usually nowhere near the problem, or only maybe like 1% of the problem at most. The problem's usually something a lot more complex than what people want to put down the time and effort to fucking solve. I mean, which is easier? Ban one form of media, or actually sit there and take on all of society's problems?
Well, even us too, we're getting kind of sick of talking about these people too. So, I mean, I understand that. But if you're in a position of authority, like this mayor who said that they should be allowed to riot, fuck no, you can't be saying that shit. Right? I mean, people jump right down her throat for it, but then again, there's plenty of people saying she was right.
I don't know.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I'm just kind of disinterested in talking about these fucking people anymore, so let's just move on, man. I mean, never mind, because here we go again. Mason, a guy named Mason, he's in the MetalGate band group. He had asked me to ask him a question for his YouTube channel, like a Q&A kind of thing. So I asked him, does MetalGate mean we have to prove to social justice warriors that heavy metal is acceptable and mainstream and inclusive and all that shit? Or does it mean that metal needs to kind of draw a line in the sand and say, no, this is metal, that's not? Right? I didn't ask exactly that way, but he basically said that, yes, part of the problem is the social aspect where some people just don't like metalheads. And the problem with metal is fucking metalheads, right? And
you see,
I completely disagree with him, but
see, I disagree to the point where it's like, fucking, why do you have to fucking prove to people that have no concept of what the fuck's going on, that everything's fucking 100% legit?
Yeah.
As long as I'm not fucking being fucking kicked out of my job just because of a fucking preference, and what the fuck's the problem,
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, also, if a guy who likes pop rock comes to a metal show and he's offended and he goes away from the show, so fucking what? I mean, it's not like he was oppressed. He just has a preference. And he expressed that preference by fucking leaving. right? So why did those metalheads then have to chase this fucking guy down and apologize to him for shitting on his opinions? Like, why? If he's allowed to shit on our opinions, why can't we shit right fucking back on him without somebody else going, oh, metalheads are so mean? You know, who's the bad guy here?
I've said it before. You either fucking carve out a place for yourself or you fucking leave. I mean, there are people that are fucking always gonna fucking call you fucking a poser, useless piece of shit.
Yeah.
Just because you're not a part of their fucking particular scene. You're not agreeing with them 100%. Or even if they do allow fucking debate against them and disagreement with them, you're not doing it the right way.
Yeah.
And this is most heavily going against the newbies that fucking have no idea how the fucking scene actually operated. But if you actually do what I did whenever I first come on this scene and sit there, ask the questions, you gain a lot more respect whenever you fucking go into things trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
As opposed to sit there dictate, well, accept me.
Yeah.
Well, give me a reason to fucking accept you.
Not to interrupt, but that question in itself, if that's what MetalGate or Gamergate was to you, I'm sorry, you just misunderstand what's going on. Like, you don't understand the dynamics going on here.
Well, Gamergate's a different beast entirely because
there's some similarities, though. There are
a couple, but honestly, from what I've seen, it's a completely different beast because they do try to make it look like, see, we're the good guys, where I just really don't care if I'm viewed as a fucking good guy.
Okay, I respect that. But what I was trying to get at is that metal and gaming, it's open to anybody who wants to walk in. But the result of that cannot be dictated by anybody. And that's why we don't like these social justice fuckers. Because they're reacting to when someone goes, well, I don't like this, and trying to make a special little place for them so that nobody can criticize it.
They're just complete sacks of neo-yuppie trash. I mean, fucking, they demand a place just based upon the fact they exist as opposed to proving that they deserve that place.
Yes, exactly. So even asking that question to me tells me that you don't understand. Wanting to answer that question really shows me that you don't understand what's going on here. I mean, I asked him the question, but he had asked me to ask him a question about MetalGate, and I knew that's where I wanted to go with it because it seemed like there was some confusion between some people about what MetalGate is and is not, and it is definitely not to create a safe space for people. It is open for anybody, but don't come in here acting like you just own the fucking joint, right? I mean, I didn't. Jim doesn't. Nobody does that. And the second you start doing that, I mean, people have every right to fucking point their finger at you and say, you don't own this fucking place. Like, you can't sit here and try to manipulate people into accepting you. If they don't fucking accept you, they don't. Right?
See, one thing I do gotta say about Mason, though, is I've seen him actually try to walk this line, and even though I consider it weak, I do give him props for putting up with all the shit he does.
No, absolutely.
He actually does engage in the debate, and even though I disagree with him on a lot of issues vehemently, I appreciate the fact that he doesn't back down.
Absolutely. I'm not saying anything to the contrary. I actually just told another friend of mine that, I don't agree with Mason most of the time, but God damn it, he knows how to ask the right questions, right? Like, he can get a fucking good conversation going, period. Which is fine. But the answer to that question might not appeal to everyone, right? So if people want to leave this group because somebody says something mean about them and their taste in music or anything, go. Right? Nobody's stopping you. Nobody's trying to dictate what you should do. But you can't expect people to just prostate.
Just sit there, fall in line with whatever your fucking doctrine is.
Prostate, sorry.
Prostate.
How embarrassing. Anyways, But yeah, you're right. You can't expect people to just bow down before you, right? Like, if you want to consider something that's more hard rock as metal, but metalheads and almost through the board say that is not fucking metal. I mean, where do you go from there? Yeah, you could say, "Oh, metalheads are the problem, and they're closed-minded." So what? That's what metal is. I mean, metal is something, and that's not metal, right? Like, I think metalheads have the right to draw those lines.
Yeah, drawing the lines, but there's always the fucking debate going on, and that's like I've said before, it's the debates which drive the music in different directions.
Sure.
Different is not always good. Sometimes, a lot of times, it fucking completely sucks balls. But you know, once in a while, you find something that actually works.
Yeah, and I say all this coming from a more prog rock, hard rock perspective. It's just that I respect where metal came from and where those lines have been drawn. I don't just step over them willy-nilly, right? If I'm going to step over one of them, I'm going to make sure I have a really good fucking reason to do so. And I think there's a lot lacking there, like where people are just trying to like come in and wreck shop. Well, sorry, that's not going to happen. I just don't. I don't see how people are misunderstanding that.
Well, it's easy to misunderstand shit whenever you come from a perspective where everything is just based upon the fact you merely exist without having to prove you have a right to be anywhere. You
Right.
know, just and fucking going off on this automatic acceptance bullshit. I mean, what, I'm supposed to be friends with the entire world, even if I fucking that person over there is fucking out to destroy me. I have to fucking accept him and befriend him, even though he's gonna fucking one day murder my family.
Right.
Fuck that bullshit. I'll fucking murder his family before he kills mine.
Oh, there you go. And that's where this is. It's MetalGate is open, like just like anything else. Everybody in the entire world is welcome to come and participate. But the result of that, like I said before, it might be something you don't like, right? You might run up into a brick wall where metal in general says you're fucking wrong. And you have to be willing to deal with that. I mean, everyone else in the fucking world seems to be able to negotiate the paths of right and wrong and understand when they need to like think about maybe where they went wrong and kind of approach it from a different angle. Otherwise known as
that's another point there that needs to be made. Fucking having enough guts to admit when you're fucking wrong versus the need to always be right.
Right.
You know, it's a fucking rush whenever you're fucking right about something and you're proven right about something. But what happens whenever you're fucking wrong? Or do you learn from the experience where you went wrong? Or do you fucking keep pushing forward saying, no, I'm still right, just because you're addicted to that high of always being right?
Yeah. And then what ends up happening a lot of times is when they keep doubling down and losing, they'll run away instead of pausing for a second and thinking about the situation they're in.
That's why you need a safe space.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We need a safe fucking space.
If
that's where they run to.
If you're wrong, you need a safe space so that way you can continue thinking you're right.
Exactly. So anybody who hears this might be thinking, well, what a bunch of assholes. You know, especially in 2015.
Good. I am an asshole. Thank you.
Well, I mean, if you can't deal with the heat, get out of the kitchen. You know, that's an old cliche, but it's fucking true. And that's not just metal. That's any scene. That's anything that anybody cares about. I'm sure if you went to a social justice warrior meeting, the same kind of thing would exist there, right? That, well, you're not a social justice warrior. Get the fuck out of here. You know?
Well, so much of their bullshit has to deal with external value, like external fucking appearances, you know, or like which set of genitals do you have? What color of skin do you have? I mean, and there's a grading system. I mean, you got the fucking white supremacists, you know, going off one scale, you know, where they're at the top. Then you got these fucking neo-yuppie trash pieces of shit fucking inverting the entire scale, saying, no, this is what should be at the top. And it's like, well, all you're doing is the fucking same damn bullshit as the other side of this equation. What the fuck? You know?
Right.
There's no fucking point to this.
They would be a lot better off if they just stopped and said, we are doing the same thing you're doing, but a different way. But that's where they're fucking up. That's what everybody's getting pissed off about. Is we recognize in MetalGate that we do a lot of the same things that other groups would do, like ostracize people and shit like that. But we admit it, right? And a lot of other groups do too. Most people are honest enough to at least admit, yeah, I'm kind of a dick. But some people just have to be this eternal white knight good guy. And I can't accept that. I'm sorry. I'm not really sorry. I'm just saying that. But
I mean, you have your you got your eternal Boy Scout, and then you got your fucking person who's lived a life. I mean, your eternal Boy Scout will fucking sit there and look at everything that they do as something fucking virtuous, regardless if it is or not, as opposed to fucking someone that's lived a life, which realizes, hey, I fucked up sometimes. Hell yeah, I fucking shoplifted. I fucking did all this shit, you know? And it's like, but I fucking learned from the experience,
Well, nowadays, though, someone like a little younger than even myself, making those same mistakes that you did, Jim, would be told it's okay because of the X, Y, and Z. And you don't need to be accountable for it because it's the system's fault, right? Or it was your parents' fault, or it was some other external thing. It wasn't your fault that you made those mistakes. And that's the point we're trying to make here is if you come with a question like that or a point to make, just stop and think a second what you're asking and who you're asking. Right? They might just come right out and say, fuck off. And if that's what they say and you run away like a little coward, then what? I mean, I don't understand what your point of being there in the first place is. Like you didn't even imagine someone being a dick to you, right? Like, or trying to hold you accountable. That didn't even come up with your mind. Whereas,
I mean, there's a difference between someone being a dick and someone holding accountability. There's also the dicks which hold people accountable.
Okay. I mean, sure.
I mean, there's fucking multiple shades going on here, and you actually got to sift through the arguments to see if there is any fucking validity to it.
Sure.
Sometimes there is no validity to it just because they're fucking trying to shit on something. Other times, there's a logic behind why they're shitting on it.
Sometimes too, and this is the sad part, where like a social justice warrior or someone who might be a little contrary to the group, right, makes a really good fucking point, and it pisses people off, and there's a big debate around it. But then because someone was harsh towards them or something, they run away. And then there's no more conversation. There's no more knowledge or anything building. It's, oh, he was mean, so I'm running away. Go into my safe space because I can't be held accountable, or I don't have the courage to hold them accountable, right? Like, you see what I'm getting at there?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, some people do not want to be fucking, a lot of people don't like being fucking called out because it makes them feel inferior whenever fucking the facts fly right in their contrary to what they're fucking saying.
Like, good God, don't you want to know when you're wrong? Like, isn't that something you should, but it should be like automatic? Shouldn't even really think about it. Like,
well, you sit there, go back to fucking hunter-gatherer days, okay? And you have the decision of eating the red berries or the blueberries. Well, if the red berries made someone keel over and die, are you going to repeat that mistake?
Yeah, you should want to. It should be an effortless, endless motion of wanting to know when you're fucking wrong, and not being all offended when someone's a little bit of a dick to you. Right? Just take the knowledge that they're trying to give to you, even if they're being a dick, and see if it's actually true. See if it holds water. And if not, then fuck them and tell them fuck them. Tell them. Be honest.
Exactly.
That's what it comes down to, is honesty. You know, if someone comes and says, well, fucking Nickelback is metal, and people say, fuck you, no, it's not, then prove it. Prove it's metal. And if you just run away from it, then you didn't prove shit. All you really said is it's not metal at all because you're a product of that band and the philosophies that that band puts out there. And what you're saying is, we're going to run away.
It's more the mind-numbing fucking bullshit that I hear on the fucking radio that's repeated a million times over and fucking all commercialized fucking bullshit. That's why I fucking don't like fucking Nickelback.
Well, there you go. I mean, you have your reasons for not liking it. But if you said that to some of these people, they'd run away and say the problem with metal is fucking metalheads and that they call people faggots and shit. But that's not what you said at all, right? They misrepresent what you say. And what I'm afraid of is that there's some people who don't like social justice warriors who actually inhabit the same kind of ideologies that they do, that don't realize it. They don't realize that they're really actually social justice warriors, right? When you boil it all down.
Well, it's interesting you bring that up because I was fucking reading an article where this guy, this is fucking at least a couple weeks ago, fucking this guy was fucking trying to walk this line saying, I hate, this new yuppie trash bullshit, but at the same time, he was partaking in it. And I think I said it before in another, even last week, I think, or maybe a week before or something, I don't know, where you read the papers that were written about metal from academia, and you have your first flavor, which is, metal is this thing which needs to be banned immediately because blah, 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 blah. Then you have the second wave of papers coming in from actual metalheads saying, well, no, it's got this kind of merit, that kind of merit, blah, blah, blah. It's good shit. Then you have the third wave of papers saying it's good shit, but it's also some of it needs to be like, banned. And it's like fucking trying to walk this line where like, they have to preach an ideology while talking about something that doesn't give a shit.
It's interesting because I watched that metal show on VH1, and I was getting that vibe, right? That they're walking a line. These guys they grew up in the scene. They were an integral part of it, indeed, in a lot of cases. Yet they still, in 2015 at least, are walking that line, calling metal hard rock, trying to be more open to diversity issues and shit like that. Yet still maintaining this decorum of metalhood around it. Really strange, actually.
Oh, man. I'm just reminded of like whenever fucking my buddies were fucking part of this fucking National Socialist kind of fucking movement bullshit. Their own fucking neo-Nazi whiny baby crap. And they were listening to Sepultura, and I'm like, dude, there's a minority in the band,
Yeah.
And they're fucking trying to tell me it's bullshit. I'm like, look, it's right here in the fucking photo of the band, see? Yeah. And they were trying to logically say, well, he's one of the white ones. It's like, okay, what were you saying, hon? No, it was... we're talking about the South American. South America, huh?
That's fucking funny. It's the opposite of what we're really talking about, but it's the same fucking thing, right? I don't like X, but X is in an element of what I do like, so therefore it's okay.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like fucking you're one of the white ones if you fucking do something that's agreed with by said group. It's like...
So, hey, blackies, go ahead and become a part of the white culture. Be an Uncle Tom. Sell your old culture out. Yeah.
And honestly, I think that's what this fucking neo-yuppie trash movement is fucking pulling here.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking,
elaborate way. Yeah.
See, I'm not black, but I'll, sit here and latch on to all these fucking radical causes started by militants years ago that fucking just wanted to separate and destroy everything, simply because I want to prove that, I'm one of the good ones.
Yeah, I'm diverse. If I were, and this is hard to say, but I'm going to talk to him. There's a guy named TJ Sotomayor. He's on YouTube, and he talks about, quote, black issues, right, unquote. And he gets rather offended if you try to kiss his ass, right? Like, he doesn't want you to fucking hold his hand, right?
And that's a bit more respectful whenever someone just says, don't fucking hold my hand.
Yeah, I can do that shit myself.
Even if I fucking disagree with the fucking message, it's at least respectable.
Yeah.
If someone's saying, fuck you, I don't need a fucking white knight, especially, one that is, a part of what I'm fucking preaching against.
So that goes back into the original topic. You don't have to prove fucking shit to anybody, right? Like, in cases you do where you are entering unfamiliar territory or you're trying to become part of something, then yeah, there's meritocracy involved. But when it comes to people trying to manipulate and control society and shit, fuck them. I don't have to prove a goddamn thing to these social justice faggots. Because I know what they're up to. I know what they're about. I don't just disagree with them. I loathe what they're trying to do. And so do most people. I mean, a lot of people in this group do.
It's just fucking all this beseeching, being the most popular kid in fucking high school, even years after you fucking graduated.
And, a lot of the times the actually popular kid is he's just there by circumstance, right? Like, he's actually a pretty cool person if you get to know him, but they're just involved in the scene. They're actually usually pretty fucking good people. It's just they have them.
Everyone's an individual, and you gotta fucking.
Sure. And what I was trying to say with that is they probably niched a part of that community out for themselves, right? So they no longer have to fucking prove shit to anybody, right? They've already done it. So I don't understand why.
You got those types, and you got those that just fucking automatically think they're part of it because X, Y, Z factor.
Okay. Yeah.
They're fucking talking the talk, but not walking the walk,
Absolutely.
And a lot of it is fucking just talking the talk.
And I have to admit that I am a little more talk the talk because I'm not coming from growing up through the metal scene. But I don't sit here and expect them, you or anybody else, to placate to my desires every fucking turn. No, I want you to tell me when I'm wrong, right?
It's like I said before, you carve out your own fucking space,
That's
this
how
is where you are, and fucking either people will fucking shit on you or not. Yeah,
and they're free to shit all over me. Actually, I kind of want them to, so I know who's who and what's what.
And that's also helping threat assessment, yes.
Yeah, and that helps people understand what is going on. Like, if you just want to avoid the conflict, then fucking avoid the conflict. Go, right? You can't handle the controversy. Go.
See, when I was younger, I was fucking under this naive idea that fucking metal would save the world, but I look at it now, it's like fucking there's no possible way it could because people are so fucking full of themselves. They don't want to take that step back and realize, gee, I might have fucked up, or gee, maybe I don't belong here or there, even though I think I should.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. So, I mean, Mason, but I wasn't trying to shit all over you, but we just have a disagreement here, I believe. A rather important one that I wanted to make the distinction is if you think that heavy metal fans and metal bands have to prove that they're accepting and loving and caring, then sorry, dude, you're wrong. That's not what metal's about. It's not to create a safe space for anyone. If you can handle the heat, you're more than welcome in the kitchen. But if not, you're just in the fucking way, and the cook's getting his orders out late.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, so it's not, and I do respect Mason because he does stick in there. He doesn't back down. He asks the right questions. He has interesting things to bring up. But don't ask me to hold back or run away from me when I don't hold back. I'm not going to. And neither is anybody else that I've gotten to know through this. It's just part of it.
It's the way the scenes pretty much existed. You fucking either prove yourself or you fucking don't. And if you don't, you know, you could still sit there and fucking try to, people that already have, you know, do whatever, you know, fuck it, you know. But there are going to be people that always shit on you.
So let's go to the extremes of this. If we were to try to prove that we're loving, caring, accepting, fucking diverse people, where would that take metal? Other than fucking confetti poppers bullshit. Like
delusional fucking hug box bullshit, yeah.
Yeah. It would cease to be metal. And maybe that's not, maybe that has to happen to metal in order for it to become metal again. You know, maybe it has to die. Like maybe it has to just be sucked down into this void where it's just a joke. Like it's a shadow of itself in order for people to react to it and make something that's truly fucking epic metal. Maybe that's what has to happen. I'm not sure.
Usually works in cycles. It fucking dies out because it's fucking too mainstream. Then fucking, you know, the mainstream starts noticing, oh wow, you know, the new thing going on is like so fucking awesome because it's going completely against everything we got. So we need to put it in our fucking whatever.
And this goes perfectly into the next topic. Does metal evolve to a point that older metal becomes rock and roll? Right? So go back to Sabbath, right? Listen to it. And then go to the early 90s death metal, black metal scene. Right? Compare the two. Does Black Sabbath sound metal anymore after that? I'm just asking the question.
Fuck. It's closer to rock than fucking what the death metal scene was then. Yeah. But, you know, that's more of a historical reference there because they were trying to work against a lot of different shit back then.
Okay.
So, I mean, you've got different... It's an evolutionary factor that, yeah, the bass will sound like its core elements, but...
So I think this is a complex question. Compositionally, musically, Black Sabbath, especially listening to that first album, you can hear the rock big time in that. But you can also hear something else creeping in there, which makes that album so fucking good. You could hear this new element trying to come out of its shell in that album, and it's fucking fantastic to listen to. So I would say it's still metal, but you have to recognize that as we go forward in time and society becomes more of a certain thing, that metal has to strive for more extreme elements to express itself. And that's, you know, you go back to when it was just good old hip swinging rock and roll, and Elvis, you know, all he had to do was dance on TV and people threw a fit, right? Fast forward to Black Sabbath, you had to make truly terrifying music to get people to throw a hissy fit. Go to the 90s, you had to talk about fucking...
Okay, I have to interrupt here because I got an idea in head. One thing I do want to bring up with this whole entire debate is whenever fucking... Even back in the day, you fucking talk with people that were part of the scene that were only part of like the death metal scene. And they fucking would say things like, well, I respect thrash. I respect this. I just can't listen to it because it's complete garbage to me. It sounds too much like fucking, you know, this rock and roll fucking trendy bullshit. I can't stand it. But, you know, I respect it because it's how we got where we are.
Right.
You know,
I totally see that. That's kind of where I was going. Is that without Black Sabbath making that first album, there's no way Burzum could have made their like. It would not have happened without Black Sabbath doing that. And
well, it may have happened, just had different roots. That's all.
Sure. Okay. Fine. But where we're at now, we have a historical record. We can look back at it. So, I guess another thing I'm getting at is that rock and roll is ingrained into metal. Like you cannot have metal without rock. It just, where would it have come from otherwise?
And that's an interesting point there. I can't really debate it because of the historical record.
Do you
Go ahead.
Do you think this happens in other genres of music, like pop music? Okay.
Pop music is just trying to appeal to the fucking masses.
Okay, but do people listen to pop music and then go back into their own little studios or whatever and make pop music that's less appealing to and they're trying to evolve it or whatever?
Oh fuck! There were trends where it's all fucking trend bullshit. But you had people trying to say, well, I'm the new wave of pop music, so I'm appealing to, a selective crowd, even though I'm still spewing out the same bullshit, which is mass appeal. I fucking forget the fucking artist names because fucking bullshit. But there's always this phase in, phase out kind of shit where you got yourself this pop musician that's trying to appeal to the punks or trying to appeal to the goths. But, it's still the same fucking... fucking pop rock bullshit.
Yeah, it has the same underlying issues there. The same
you got fucking baby metal trying to appeal to the fucking hardcore metal heads, but it's still fucking pop music.
Sure. Yeah. So I guess a further point that I was topic I was trying to raise is, I come from rock, right? That's what I grew up with, but there seems to be a point, to me at least, where metal, while it still maintains has the rock influence that's essential there, but it broke off to where it was almost its very own thing, almost exclusively its own genre of music. You almost don't hear any rock anymore. And I think that was the late 80s, early 90s.
You still technically heard some of it, or...
Yeah, like I was saying, it's still in there, but it's so far just away from it now. Well, not now, but then, that it's taken on its own identity. Whereas you go backwards a little bit into Metallica, Megadeth, even more further back into Maiden and Black Sabbath, where you still really heard that swinging rock and roll stuff in it.
Yeah.
But as it pushed forward a little bit further, it got way more hard and way more mechanical and way more heavy. And I think that's where I'd like to see metal go in the future. If there needs to be this death first, how do you make what's already been considered the heaviest stuff in the world even more fucking extreme? How does that happen?
And it's all part of how fucking things are going to evolve from here, and it's all theoretical bullshit. Because you fucking sit here and try to predict the future, you're going to get people that are fucking truly inspired coming into the conversation, trying to express themselves with, what's there, what doesn't exist, try to pull things from, wherever, versus these fucking intellectual fucking pansies that fucking try to follow charts and fucking all this other fucking bullshit and just speak out their ass without even knowing what the fuck they're saying.
I think I'm doing that a little bit, to be honest. But no, I'm just saying, we're at a point now where you rarely get a metal album that anyone really talks about. You go to these big metal publishers on YouTube, and you see these videos come out, and you'll share it, and people are just meh, meh. I've heard that before. It's true. I mean, we've all heard that shit before. So I don't know if I'm trying to predict the future. I just think it's an interesting question to ask: is where do you imagine that going? Like, where could it possibly go?
Well, I came up with ideas last week, but I honestly don't. Looking back and listening to it, I was like, maybe not, because fucking that seems like it has been done before, and I didn't really convey the message the way I wanted to. About fucking building up with different fucking styles of cohesion and shit, and then letting it collapse. But then I've heard similar shit where things would build and collapse like that. So.
Yeah,
trying to say that the new direction's fucking me talking out my ass.
Yeah, well, I think this is more of a question less for fans and more for actual artists, right? Like, that is a very tricky fucking scenario. They're trying to reinvent something that's already been done as well as it possibly could be. Like, I think the next logical question is, well, what if you can't? Does metal just fucking die and that's it?
Fuck. That is a fucking pretty damn complex question there. And
Yeah.
honestly, yeah, it should fucking die, but I don't know, what the fuck? Is it gonna fucking resurrect? I mean, and what will it take to fucking resurrect here? I mean, is it going back to roots? Is it going back and applying different styles with each other? Is it fucking experimentation? Is it fucking staying tried and true and fucking purist?
I don't know, man. It's because when a few months before we did the MetalGate thing together, I was listening to a band called The Sword, and I was under the impression, well, this is metal. But then I'd seen some critiques of them, and I kind of had to agree that no, they're just kind of using stuff from the past. And we've heard this before, so it's not really that metal. It has it in there, but it's it's not exactly what we grew up like. And when they say what we grew up with, they're not saying the music; they're saying the attitude and the drive and the purpose for it being there just wasn't there. And I think that's what metal is missing, is a band that's taking it to a new level. And I just haven't heard it.
It's interesting that you bring up purpose. And I think that's what's really lacking here. I mean, we've fucking been pushed in all fucking different directions. And it just seems that there are so many that want to fucking make the sound just to make the sound, as opposed to having a purpose behind it.
Sure. And I guarantee if you asked any of these metal bands, do you have a purpose behind it, they would say yes. But you have to add in the fans' reaction to it that matters, that counts for something, because they're the ones who listen to the album and then react to it in the real world. So that actually has a transformative effect on society, right? When's the last time that fucking happened in metal? It's been a long fucking time.
Yeah. I mean, there's just been so much that's already been said, so what the fuck else do you need to say?
Right.
And
I think
there are things that we're covering here on our show, which, I do believe need to be said, but we're beating a lot of the same questions over and over again, and coming up with the same conclusions. So it's like we're kicking the dead horse now from time to time.
Yeah, but I think also that some of those questions haven't been fully addressed. Like there was a post in the group like yesterday, I think it was like Chris Pratt guy, the guy who was preemptively apologizing for himself, right? Which was posted under, anti-SJW goes mainstream. But I pointed out, I was like, yeah, that's cool and all, but I'm not going to be happy until someone truly influential comes on TV or makes a big public statement saying something along the lines of social justice is a dangerous ideology. These people are misinformed, ignorant, yada, yada, yada. And someone said, what if Barack Obama said it? That's what I'm getting for here. Is when does metal make that big of a statement again, where they have to actually address what metal's saying? Like when I say they, I mean the mainstream.
The thing is, mainstream's often tried to fucking push it aside throughout the years. Try to ignore it, try to fucking paint it as this or that. I mean, especially as certain bands got grandfathered in, fucking, you try to paint different, you just see fucking different excuses. God, fucking just the shit I've seen over some of Slayer's work, over the years, fucking different writing. I'm just fucking migraine city.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they keep wanting to sidestep the issues that metalheads are bringing up. But what if, at one time they didn't? They had to address it. And their answer was to try to ban it, of course.
Well, that's one way of actually sidestepping the issue, is trying to make certain it's not heard. Fucking.
Which backfires.
Other ways just fucking ignore it. Other ways are fucking, try to make it say what you want it to say.
So that might sound like I'm saying that metal needs to prove something, but what it's really saying is actually the mainstream needs to prove something to metal, right? Like, can people even deal with these issues? Like, have they ever even come up in your mind? And pointing your finger at them and laughing at them for being so fucking worthless, even though they have the decorum, right? I think metal does a good job of, or used to at least, do a really good job of pointing at power and saying, you really don't have that much power. You just have the look of it. So fuck you.
Yeah, I'd like to call a press conference and just say, fuck you, then walk off stage.
That would be awesome. Imagine that if fucking Barack Obama came out in corpse paint and fucking it came out and said, fuck all you little faggots, and then just walked off. That would be awesome. I would actually laugh my ass off if that happened.
Yeah, that'd be interesting, just for a few seconds at least.
Oh no, dude, that'd be fucking great. If fucking Barack Obama came out in the black metal getup. I mean, that would fuck with me for a couple of days, actually.
Nah. I mean, it's just me. I fucking got too disillusioned about different shit.
I don't know. Just having a little fun with it there, But yeah, I mean, a lot of times I think we are kicking a dead horse. And, of course, Shane Mathis said that we are. But I don't really believe that that's totally what we're doing either. I think there's something more important here that's pretty much transcends metal or gaming or anything. It's a lot deeper than that. So these like hashtag gate things pop up. It's not necessarily defending that thing. It's saying something even more. Like, you can't do this to anybody, right? You can't go to a tennis club and tell these tennis players that they're oppressive shitlords just because they're better at tennis than you. It's something that transcends whatever you're talking about. That's what we're doing here.
Oh, fuck. I was watching this one fucking anime the other day called fucking School Days. And there's this huge fucking online war going on where most people are sitting there saying it's a piece of shit. And then you got these people saying, no, it's a fucking masterpiece. I watched it, shrugged my shoulders, and it's average. It's got its moments, and like you follow it, it fucking, and you need a certain mindset to actually follow it, as in, you actually need the experience to realize, these are the games girls play with boys' hearts. These are the games boys play with their cocks, with the girl, and and just realizing that fucking high school wasn't this point where like girls were fucking pure and boys were fucking this, or just being real with it. But at the same time, I just fucking watch this, and it's like, most people just fucking bash the boy for fucking going around and fucking all these chicks up, realizing that the chicks are fucking playing games.
Well, yeah.
I mean, you got the ultimate fucking game that goes on, which is, oh, fuck. It's this thing where, like, you got a crush on someone, and you want them to go out with you, they're voicing interest in someone else, so you help them fucking go out with them in hopes they'll notice that you're being selfless enough and return to you.
Yeah. Well,
And, you know, people
really,
just don't recognize that game because they've fucking never lived it on one end or the other because they were either sheltered or whatnot.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's a cliche that says, until you have your heart broken, right, you don't really know what you're dealing with or something. Definitely, you need to have that experience of being naive and dumb and walking into a situation and making nothing but mistakes, right? Without that, you can't really learn. And I think that's an important thing that we're doing here is trying to put forth that message that, hey, as long as you fucking recognize when you fuck up, you make sure you try to correct it, then whatever. I mean, it's just a mistake. But trying to keep running away from it, you're probably going to become a social justice warrior.
Especially if your form of running away from it is to reassert that it's still the truth, even after
That was fucking classic. That was a good line right there. I like that. So, just moving on. Crazy Louie.
Okay. This is a story from my fucking past, Ed. And there's a fucking two different outlooks here, and it all has to come down with fucking parenting. The way I see it, okay? Now, me growing up, I fucking would go off these rants about fucking carjacking people, you know, ramming tanks into shit, blowing shit up. Essentially, stuff that would sound like, you know, I just played too much Grand Theft Auto. Except at the time, Grand Theft Auto wasn't even released. This was back in like fucking late 80s, early 90s. I started doing these kinds of rants and shit. So, and Grand Theft Auto wasn't released till what, 97, 98, somewhere around there. So you could see, you know, where the fucking thing was. Except, you know, well, my parents would fucking let me, you know, like most parents at the time, you know, or, you know, most parents within my age group anyway, you know, raising kids in my age group would let kids stay out till like fucking, you know, bedtime or whatever. Or, you know, if you call them up saying, hey, I'm crashing at a friend's house, you know, they let you do it. It was pretty much considered free range. You fucking did what you want. And, you know, and if you fucked up like I did, I got busted for shoplifting and I got fucking busted coming home drunk a few times, and my fucking parents would fucking lay into me. More so my mother than my father, because my father's fucking main thing was, you know, as long as he didn't wake up, I did no harm. But that's a completely different story, you know. And, you know, I came to this realization that there are certain actions where I would suffer consequences through. So I tried to avoid certain scenarios where either I would get busted for it when I was younger, and as I grew up, I realized, you know, why the fuck even take the chance of getting busted with some of this shit because it's so fucking petty, you know? And it's just kind of part of the growing experience, you know, learning there are consequences for your actions. Now, there's this kid that we called Crazy Louie. His name was Chris Lewis. And he came to a few parties that, you know, off and on throughout the years, you know, just flowed into the group and out. And he went off similar rants that I did. I will mention that he probably wasn't as bright as I was. You know, maybe one factor of what the heck's leading up to everything I'm talking about. But there is a major factor with his mother being an overprotective cunt. And she would, and part of being that kind of overprotective cunt is trying to say that, well, my kid isn't responsible for his bad decisions. It's the bad influences which are bad. Now, whenever I started up my attic parties, he'd come down and he'd go off on these rants and we'd talk him out of fucking doing this shit. And even off on a little reward, you know, here's a fucking couple more beers for you for not running around killing people like that, you know. Fucking talking him out of it, but one day his mother called up my house and said, you know, I'll fucking send the cops over next time my kid's there, so I fucking banned him from any of my parties. 2 months later, he carjacks someone. A couple months after that, he gets busted for breaking into someone's house thinking it's still his house. Okay. Things which he could have easily been talked out of if he wasn't fucking, you know, off in the corner pretty much. because his mother had to protect him, and nothing was ever his kid's fault. And whenever he fucking got busted the next second time, he was in a fucking holding cell and set his mattress on fire.
Jesus.
Now, once he set the fucking mattress on fire, the fucking judge said, hey, this kid's not competent to stand trial. Let's send him to a fucking loony bin. So he went to a mental institution for a while. And whenever he got released, a couple years later, his mother bought him a gift of a shotgun as a gift for essentially graduating the loony bin. I mean, you don't fucking give someone that was just released from a loony bin for... he carjacked someone, broke into someone's house, and set his mattress in the jail cell on fire. You're going to fucking just give a shotgun to someone here and not expect them to misuse it. Well, of course he fucking misused it. He dressed up in a bright orange jumpsuit and started shooting people in his fucking trailer park. No one died. He was shooting at a far enough distance that only injured a few people. You know, so I guess some people are going to feel lucky over that. But still, it's like, you know, this kid wasn't taught that there are fucking consequences to his actions because his mother fucking protected him from the consequences.
Yeah. I totally agree. Can you hear me, by the way?
Oh, I can hear you.
Okay, sorry. But yeah, I think we kind of touched on this a little bit. I mean, not the story, but kind of a lesson from it. Do consequences dictate your course of action? I mean, I would say yes.
If you're willing to go with the consequences of your actions, then, you know, you're going to fucking suffer the consequences. If not, then maybe you should fucking avoid those fucking actions. Well, but here's a person not taught to fucking think in those terms because he's protected from the consequences as much as possible.
Yeah, he's the person who decided he's going to transcend consequences. Right? He is not bound.
I don't know if that was even a decision in his head. It was just the fact that he was operating without considering consequence because he had never suffered them.
Okay, there is a big difference.
I mean, you know, I'm getting blamed for him running around drinking, you know, when it was obviously his own choice for fucking doing it, you know. Instead of her punishing his, you know, her kid, she tries to punish me for being the bad influence, the satanic baby killer of Jeanette.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even if you are the satanic baby killer of Jeanette, it's still his prerogative to be around you, to take actions with you. It's still his agency is involved here. So to just only blame one little aspect of this person's life is ridiculous.
Well, it's not just blaming an aspect, it's blaming an external influence. I mean, yeah, I may not have been the best, cleanest, fucking most perfect influence. There was obviously a point where we're saying, dude, you don't want to fucking go do that. So there are times where he actually sat, he would fucking go on this rant and he'd start getting up and look like he was going to do it. It's like, dude, sit down, have a beer. You know, we literally talked him out of doing this shit. And his mother removed him from such an environment, making him be a loner. So now he's making his own choices based on, you know, whatever the fuck he felt like doing because there was no consequence to him.
I can't imagine what that would be like. Like, to not even have that in your head. Right? Like, there's just no stop there. Can you imagine? Like, I mean, I think we all kind of experience that a little bit, but we learn from it. Right? Like, we get caught or probably should have been caught, and we try to avoid those situations. And that's what you get at.
It's part of the fucking thing with like the fucking free range parenting styles it's called, you know. Kids are bound to fuck up. And when they do, you fucking lay into them for it. Whenever they don't fuck up, you just let them go and, you know, do their own thing and they find out on their own whether or not they're fucking up.
Well, I mean, I think society tries to, I think it's a natural kind of law, almost, you could say, that if A and B happen, C is inevitable, right? So we learn from that pattern, and it gets more complicated as we get older. But I think it's basically true that if mom isn't going to be the result, like to be the consequence, then society or someone else is going to. So something else is going to be that consequence to come down on that person. I don't think it can be avoided. You're going to suffer the consequences one way or the other.
I mean, there's a lot to this fucking case.
And I'm not trying to say that she shouldn't fucking tell her own fucking son, look, kid, quit fucking up. Right? I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is that if she doesn't, someone will.
And it's better that fucking she does it than fucking, a fucking judge saying, you're going away for a while, boy.
A judge or a fucking biker gang, somebody else, something that's a danger to your freedom or your safety or your life, So why shouldn't the parent be the one that you immediately point to when it comes to that kind of shit?
And it's just fucking huge chain of bullshit here. Like I said, it's like a fucking parent buys a lunatic a shotgun and doesn't expect anything bad to happen.
And nobody comes down on the parent.
Uh-huh. I mean, there were a lot of people that fucking came down on the parent, but it wasn't stated in the fucking news or anything like that at the time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a huge difference. Right? Like the kid goes out with a shotgun and starts shooting people. He's got not only mom and his friends pissed, but the rest of society, like the rest of the people who are around him. So yeah, that consequence is much more than if she would have just told him to fucking shut up and quit doing that shit. And
even though I can only find one link currently, at the time I remember fucking news stories playing on the local newscasts and fucking different papers that were around. One's taking up, guns are to blame because there was a shotgun involved, and the parent was, guns are evil. And then you have this other one saying, well, the kid said it felt like a game, so video games are evil. They're pointing in these fucking directions that absolve the parent of fucking wrongdoing. It's like, dude, you fucking gave a lunatic a shotgun. And not only that, you fucking protected him from fucking consequence, so he didn't learn that there are consequences from his actions.
Yeah. Oh.
So now that he's suffering those consequences on, via the law, which still essentially didn't give him a consequence. The whole entire case ended him going back to the loony bin for an undisclosed amount of time. I don't know if he's still there or not, but it
raises an interesting point. Are we living in a society that's heading towards a softer penalty for more extreme crimes? Like, well, Mama told us we can do whatever we want, so does that translate into the law? I don't know.
That's a fucking complicated issue because you fucking see him going off all hardcore on fucking soft crimes, but then the hard crimes, it's like, I mean, if you come up with a
That's
fucking...
That's actually quite profound what you just said, because look at the news lately.
Right? I mean, people fucking just, if you come up with a good enough insanity defense, you go fucking go off to the loony bin. And...
But if you sell a cigarette to somebody, we're gonna choke your ass out. No, I see exactly what you're saying. Right?
Yeah, it's fucking complete bullshit.
The truth is lost in this bullshit that we're talking, right? Like that guy who got shot in the back by those cops, right? The decorum of the cops made it so that this guy could get suspended for 2 weeks with pay instead of going to fucking prison. Right? Because
you got people, there's this one guy fucking locally that fucking murdered his girlfriend and left her in a fucking field, and they're saying that left his corpse of his girlfriend in a garbage can, and fucking he might not get, a severe penalty because he's mentally incompetent.
Well, of course he's not. But is he so incompetent that he's now a danger to other people around him? Fucking yes. Yes, he is. So, yeah, okay, maybe you want to try to study the guy or put him in an institution or something. But that doesn't mean don't punish him. That's what I would say.
You got fucking all kinds of crazy shit like this going on. And it just makes little sense to me. Yeah, I fucking spent a decent portion of my fucking childhood in a fucking loony bin. I've been in and out of fucking mental health counseling. I'm a fucking nutcase, but when I fuck up, I'll suffer the fucking consequences.
You'll own up to it.
Yeah, because that's how fucking I was brought up. I'm not gonna fucking sit there and skirt around it. Besides, cleansing the prison sounds like a good idea.
If we took on the like kind of death clock fucking version of prison, I don't think people would have a problem with that. Like if you're a severe enough criminal, you should be props for death metal. Right?
I'm blowing up in midair. Why not? Body parts flying.
Speaking of that, just to go off on a little tangent here, it was a while back, but just jokingly, we thought of like what kind of death clock kind of things we could do. And mine was have two cancer patients up on the stage, and they're connected to life support system or poison. And it depends on how rowdy the crowd gets, whether they're going to survive or not. Right? Either if you guys are loud enough, they'll get the cancer treatment. If you're not loud at all, they're dead. So, could you imagine that?
Honestly, I'd invert that.
Yeah, well, I thought
There's
about
going to
it.
be more
Yeah,
people
you're
out
right.
there at such a show that just want to watch someone die in front of
Okay,
them.
well, here's the thing. If you knew that the cancer patients were violent criminals, like murderers, rapists, then hell yeah, people would cheer. Right? But if you knew the person was innocent, just like a granny, I'm not going to kill a granny, so I'm going to cheer. You could do it both ways, really. You could have more of a hard rock metal band influence, kind of band, and have it to where it's all positive and shit. So you cheer for the life, but as soon as the death metal band comes on, it's the opposite.
Just watching people die like faces of death.
Man, I can't. That's so crazy that we brought that up on that show. Like I never thought I'd ever talk about that again.
Talk about what?
Faces of death.
Oh yeah. Last
That
was
is
one of the
crazy
fucking
shit.
those videos were something I plop in while partying. It was fucking always fucking interesting to see people's reactions to it, especially fucking people that weren't accustomed to fucking thinking about such things like you're going to die one day.
Man. But even if you do think about it, though, it's pretty intimidating death. You know, I can recall watching those. I was pretty much secure. Not like, yeah, I'm gonna die someday. I was like 16 or 17 or so. I would say maybe I don't know. I can't exactly remember when I saw it, but I remember being intimidated. God damn, it's fucking crazy.
Like I said, I made music videos with clips from the movie, just to fucking entertain people. Because, you're gonna fucking die tomorrow, maybe, or fucking 5 minutes from now, just fucking kill over mid chat. I mean, who knows what the fuck's when it's gonna fucking claim you and for what reason? It's gonna fucking be, I just drank 10 energy drinks in an hour and fucking die of a heart attack. It's
Right.
essentially the same effect of doing like, a huge mountain of cocaine there.
I think there's different kinds of death. Though. Like there's dying from a heart attack from drinking too much fucking energy drink, and then there's falling off your bike onto a highway and getting run over by an 18-wheeler. Like,
and then still basically clinging on to life while they're debating how to fucking pry you off the fucking grill because, you weren't completely killed by it. You're just so smashed on that if they pull you off, you're going to fucking have your organs drain everywhere and die that way. You're just sitting there screaming in agony the whole time.
I know somebody who just got in a four-wheeler wreck where they went about 30 miles an hour straight into a tree. All right. Hit him first it hit his face and then his knee hit the tree. He just hit it and just kept going he bounced off of it, but he pretty much just kept going that direction, right? So his body just smashed twice against this tree as he went forward, and it cracked his skull. It split his head wide open, like from the top down to his jawbone. And then it hit his knee, and it just busted the kneecap completely. It's gone, and there's just a huge gap there, a big gash. He survived. He's still alive. Like, just thinking about that, how lucky he got. Because he was absolutely mutilated, but he survived.
Fucking, I'm lucky I still got use of my fucking left index finger, because when I was fucking working Shop and Save night stock back in my fucking early 20s, the one day I show up to work sober, I fucking cut myself damn near down to the tendon. They said the doctor said I missed my tendon by micrometers, literally micrometers.
Damn.
So, like, fucking, I would have lost use of most of my fucking left index finger then. You know, so I learned my lesson. I didn't show up to that job sober ever again.
Yeah, dude, there's some scary shit that happens just from working. And just to say it, feminists completely complain about being women. Well, think about how many dudes have died just working, right? Just trying to make a living. Like, I used to move furniture for a living, and some of these houses had pretty tall staircases. Well, taking a big 800-pound, however fucking heavy couch that has recliners in it and shit up a big flight of stairs, holy shit, you almost die 3 times just trying to get it up there. I mean, that's a simple situation. People go on fucking sky rises and work on power lines and shit. Just more crazy jobs.
Just for entertainment's sake, you had a fucking stagehand or 2 die during the filming of fucking Wizard of Oz. Yeah, people die during the fucking chariot scene of Ben-Hur. You know?
And they filmed that shit.
Oh yeah, that shit that was caught on tape one way or film one way or another. So it's like
right. I think that death is like death metal. Like, I didn't grow up with it, so I feel like it hasn't been truly explored. And I know that if I say that, fans who grew up with it would be pissed because they feel like it's truly awesome shit. But I'm looking back on it, right, from a different perspective. So for me, I want to see more new shit around it, a lot more. So I'm less traditional metalhead. But death is that thing that everyone is interested in. Like, of course, like, you should be interested in your own death. Like, this is your one and only little spurt here. So being afraid of it is kind of useless. You know, so I want to see more death metal. Like,
entertaining watching other people die. I mean, that's what fucking draw the old school gladiator fights.
Look at Hunter S. Thompson. Look at his funeral. Look what he did for his funeral. He burned himself to ashes. Right? Well, first he shot himself. Then he burned himself to ashes. And he used a lot of his author, like making money off of his books, to build this cannon off in the mountains with a big fist on the end of it, and it had his ashes in it. And it shot his fucking ashes from a fucking cannon that was way huge up into the sky. I mean, that's awesome. That is such an awesome funeral. I can't describe it. So he had no problems with the fact that he was going to die, right? Like, and look at the work he did. Look at the legacy he left behind, right? Again, he was just fearless about it.
I still have to steal my dad's ashes off my sister so I could take him up to Grand Central Station and pay a prostitute to flush him down the drain.
That's awesome, dude. See, that's awesome. He's having fun with it, right?
I'm certain he would have wanted it that way, considering all the porn he was into.
There you go. Yeah, man. What were we talking about? Parenting. Sorry. We went from parenting to this.
Sure, why not? Because death is a consequence of things. Fucking, you figure, put helmets on kids now, fucking. See, it's like fucking, you put a law to say you have to have a helmet. Well, you know, if all you gotta do is fucking see one person's brain leaking out because they didn't wear a helmet, you realize, well, maybe I should put one on because I don't want my brain leaking out. But if you truly don't care about your brain leaking out, then fuck it.
I wonder how many people walk around with that mindset that you just described. Like, just kind of empty, you know?
Yeah,
not really knowing what it's like to be alive because you haven't thought about your death, you know? I mean, everyone goes through that as a kid, I think. Unless you see death. Like, hardcore death when you're young, really young. But I would say that most people kind of go through that naive stage, maybe for a long time.
I mean, they just can't fucking hack that it could happen tomorrow, or fucking. There's a lot of fucking instances where people just want to avoid things. I mean,
I've avoided things that I thought might be too dangerous for me to do. I definitely have. That's part of what we're talking about here is learning. If someone suggests something to you, should you just go ahead and do it? Not always.
well, there were a lot of fucking things I've done over the years. I fucking jumped off bridges just because my friends were fucking doing it. And that was fucking fun. And the funny part is, looking back, it's like, yeah, that fucking water was pretty damn shallow we landed in. And if I didn't know how to swim, I would have been fucking pretty stuff on the rock at the bottom of the fucking river. But since I knew how to swim, knew how to a little bit about diving into it so I could angle myself so I wouldn't hit the rocks,
Damn. Well, I mean, I think we all do dangerous shit too because we want to flirt with death. Like for me, it's driving. Sometimes when I'm driving, and this is bullshit of me because, and I don't do it all the time because I'm kind of ashamed of some of the driving I've done. I've had one accident and it wasn't close to bad, but it still freaked me out enough to maybe you shouldn't fucking go that fast around there, And that's all part of our learning how to deal with this shit.
So I learned never to drive while tripping because one time I was driving while tripping and kept trying to tell myself real life is not a video game, rubbing is not racing, and we're not racing.
Yes, we are.
I fucking wanted to fucking ram people off the road trying to win the race in my head, and it's like, I'm not racing. Fuck. But I want to do this so bad.
You know what the Darwin
So I never fucking tripped and drove again.
You know what the Darwin Awards are, right?
Oh, yeah, I probably would have won it right there.
I guarantee your girlfriend knows that shit, too, what the Darwin Awards are. She's a nurse.
Oh, she knows. Yeah. Darwin Awards.
Oh, yeah, getting to know nurses and medical people. Yeah, you can really learn a lot about this kind of shit that we're talking about right now. I would see death metal really appealing to a doctor, actually.
Well, my girlfriend fucking loves this shit.
Yeah.
And she's also into her fucking girly frilly shit, but,
we're into our ugly ball hair shit, so, whatever.
Like, but, she sits there and fucking bitches at me that one of her fucking bands sounds like it sucks ass. And I usually agree whenever it totally sucks ass.
There you go, man. That's awesome. See, my girlfriend, she's not at all into death metal or anything like that. But she's not going to say anything about me listening to it or talking about it, right? I don't think I'm sure she's definitely said shit to me about it, but it was never a big problem. She's pretty awesome about that kind of shit, really.
Well, me and my girlfriend, hell, half the people I dated used to fucking talk about morbid shit. My girlfriend now, though, is fucking... We've gotten into discussions where I start talking about fucking torturing someone just to hear their screams. And she's like, well, if you do this and that, they'll live longer, so you could cherish their screams even longer.
When it comes to this kind of stuff, really, like death and stuff, her and I more relate with, like, horror movies. We get into this kind of stuff over that. That's where we connect on this kind of stuff, for sure. I just saw a fucking movie. It's really good. I'm into creepy shit, and it's called The Babadook. And it really captures the childhood fear of the dark, but wanting to fight against it in a kid. So they get rambunctious and shit. It explores this dynamic between the mom and the kid, and there not being a father in the house, and how nightmares and dreams can like take over a kid's mind. It was truly terrifying, and I recommend it strongly. It's called The Babadook. I can't wait to show my girlfriend, actually. It was really good.
Yeah, it doesn't really sound like my sort of thing, but then again...
The monster... Okay, well, here's how the monster's introduced. She reads him bedtime stories every time he gets scared. Like, she looks through the closet, she looks under the bed, cliche stuff, and then reads, like, the Three Little Pigs to him. the big bad wolf gets killed at the end, right? So everything's okay. Well, that only encourages this kid to like, I'm gonna protect my mom. He gets all rambunctious, but when he has nightmares because of the way she's raising him, he takes it way seriously. And one day she told him that he could pick the book, and he grabbed the book. It was a red book off the shelf and gave it to her. And she looked at it and went, I don't remember ever getting this for you. He's like, you said I got to pick though. And she opened it, and the little tale it tells about what the Babadook is. It's a demon of sorts, right? And the pop-out book that they made for it was really, really good. Like, if you gave that to a kid, it would scare the fuck out of them. It would, for real. You need to see just that scene where she reads the book to him is creepy as fuck. You don't see the monster or anything, and the kid is like, he's not gonna get us, is he? They just did such a good job with it. It's kind of like the '80s kind of ghost story, like Poltergeist or something. That's kind of in there, like creepy floors and stuff like that. But there's also they really focus on the childhood part of it, which I thought was the more creepy part. Because kids, it's kind of creepy how kids think about it. They don't have this mental block of consequences and stuff, and their thoughts are so exaggerated. It's sometimes hard to kind of grasp what they're trying to get at. You know what I mean?
Well, whenever I still had custody of my kids, my daughter came to me one night and said there was a monster under her bed. So I went in there and I fucking said I was going to fucking beat the living shit out of it and all this stuff, playing along with it. But the thing is, a couple days later, it's like, yeah, the monster under the bed came out and I stomped on its head. She wasn't fucking afraid of the monster under the bed because she could fucking take care of it.
Okay.
Well,
so she was no longer afraid after that.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. And I think that's kind of what the movie's point was: is look, don't be so afraid of this stuff. Just think about it, right? Just talk it out. Because they were getting all frantic and letting their emotions get all wrapped up, in this thing that was happening to them, or whatever. And that's really good, creepy stuff. It always has that psychological aspect to it. But anyways, yeah, movie recommendation.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what else we got here. Oh, okay. So, social justice warriors. They have the moniker SJW. I want to switch it to the Social Conniption Clan, spelled SKK. So it kind of makes them like KKK members.
Yeah, I know what you're going for there, and I'm just going, yeah. I mean, I've called them neo-yuppie trash since I was fucking young. And only adopting the fucking SJW thing recently because that seems to be a trendy thing and what people grasp because it's in so much use. But really, it's like you got your yuppies who think it was a fucking culture in the fucking 80s and shit where they thought they were better than everyone because they were so cultured, so fucking learned, so this, so that, and everything was avant-garde and fucking they were preaching all this fucking bullshit that was just fucking bullshit. And you move on, and then you add the fucking extreme social justice canon to it, and that's why I call them neo-yuppie trash, because they were fucking rebranding of the fucking yuppies of yore, whereas yuppies of yore were all about fucking, let's just enjoy, us being at the top of the food chain. Now it's fucking people bickering that they are at the top of the food chain and trying to express that feeling guilty because they are through all these fucking insane fucking doctrines, and it's fucking just fucking bullshit.
The Social Conniption Plan.
I still say neo-yuppie trash.
Mine is the catchy label that everyone wants to say. Yours is the actual description of what they are.
Each to their own, I guess. I don't give a shit as long as the fucking idea is conveyed in, words and stuff.
Well, man, we've been on for about a little under 2 hours. Is there anything else that you saw through the week that you feel worth mentioning?
No, not really. I haven't really seen much this week.
There really hasn't been much this week. Trying to think. There is. What's this Duggar thing I keep seeing?
Duggar? I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about there. You ever seen that? Okay, what the hell is it? Here. Explaining it. Please explain.
Yeah.
I guess it had something to do with like he's now labeled a pedophile or something because he messed with his sisters or somebody when he was 14. And
Okay.
there's this big blog or something.
You got the bit space there, honey.
What is going on?
I'm sitting on the couch. He's sitting in front of the computer.
Okay.
But
so this, just to ask the question, I see 19 kids and counting.
Yeah.
It's just the latest embarrassment that TLC won't learn from.
Crazy trending thing. I only caught bits and pieces of it because I'm like, what's this crazy crap with these hyper people? And then I'm like, oh, the people that have a bazillion kids have kids that are perverts. Okay. Then I clicked off it. I'm like, okay, let's just sweep this under the rug. And when they're talking about, they didn't think it was right that gays should get married and that lesbians should be even around their kids and all this other shit. I'm like, really? Get off your high horse.
Yeah,
you got skeletons that just fell out of your closet completely.
So the people that are being charged here are trying to like take a stand or something?
Yeah, they're trying to like say, oh, well, he shouldn't have been, their son shouldn't have been, from what I get from it is they're saying that their son shouldn't be labeled as a pedophile because he was just curious or whatever. I don't even know. They won't even go into detail of what he did. I don't even want to know. That's like just gross.
That really just, yeah, that's gross.
I mean, I have like a similar situation in my family that we really don't talk to. My cousin married badly. She married, basically, her husband was convicted on an internet, like when Dateline was doing those internet raids of people going online porn. Well, her husband actually got busted. We watched it on TV.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I was like, what? And that was before he was her husband. I'm like, okay, why would you go and marry someone who's been convicted of this and then have a child with them? I'm like, how the fuck does that work?
Well, it just goes into what Jim was saying about parenting a little while ago.
But yeah, like, we've been having problems too with like my family with hers. She's like, oh, we're trying to do this, we're trying to do that. It's like, my mom just like basically got a restraining order against them all because they're crazy.
Oh, that sucks.
They're sacks of neo-yuppie trash.
No, they're actually welfare bums, technically.
They're what?
They're welfare bums. They work the welfare system. None of them work. And they're all like, oh, I'm disabled.
Is there a difference?
Well, she's stupid. My cousin's the cousin that married the pedophile is stupid enough to go and put on Facebook a job link of a bakery that she has in her kitchen with no. We found out she has not even been like certified by the state or whatever because she'll lose her welfare benefits, of course. But
so making a business outside of their welfare check.
She's making a business inside of her home, and she doesn't even have a business permit.
That's pretty silly. I mean,
exactly.
Yeah.
Like, are you that fucking stupid? Obviously.
Well, lots of people are though. Lots of people. That happens a lot.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, she posted on Facebook. Why would you post it on Facebook?
Yeah, well, there you go.
And say, here, I'm having these specials that I'm running. I'm like, are you serious? Because one of my other relatives told me this, and I'm like, I had to click on this bakery link. I'm like, oh my god, she is so stupid. I'm like, I'm out. You know.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't want to deal with anybody like that either.
Well, yeah, that's why we try not to admit that we're related
Well,
because they're just that bad.
I think everybody knows there's black sheep in the family, right? Like,
Yeah, and usually I'm the one that they say is, but hey, whatever.
well, it's all gray area there.
Here's Jim again.
And that is the person I am dating and probably going to marry here as soon as I fucking get the divorce finalized.
Well, there we go, man. That was actually pretty cool.
I've been separated for years, so it should be no problem. All I got to do is fucking put in an ad for a month and then it'll be done. But it's getting the money up to get all the fucking legal fees done.
Man, marriage, man, oof. That's a lot to think about, and I'm on the precipice. I've been thinking about it, but I still don't think so.
See, I've done it, and fucking yeah, that was a bad experience. But you know, looking back, it was like I married because we had kids. Now I'm doing it because, you know, there's that connection there, and we fucking talk about all this fucking crazy shit. We share all these moments together, and then fucking whenever we get in these fights, they're usually quickly resolved. Even though there's times where I fucking just walk out the door, go for a walk, try to clear my head, and all this shit.
Well, anybody who cares about you is going to let you run away and clear your head, right?
Yeah, I eventually just realize, oh yeah, it's a bit too far to walk here or there, so I'll fucking turn around now and go back and then see if we can't work this shit out.
There you go, man. That's exactly the way a healthy relationship should work. But if it stops working like that, I mean, you got to figure something out, right?
Well, we've been figuring out shit, and like I said, our arguments are few and far between whenever they do happen. And, you know, we both typically handle it well. Typically, there are instances where it's like just a fucking huge shouting match, but
it's inevitable, dude.
She doesn't throw things anymore. That's a good thing.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's important though. Like, there's important decisions that have to be made, and sometimes you have to fucking know, but other times you're just wrong. You know, other times both of you are wrong, and you're both being idiots, right? Like,
well, that's what it usually ends up being. We realize we were both fucking idiots, so you know, gotta just work from there.
Yeah, I think all that shit's inevitable.
He's right there. Everyone's a fucking idiot, no matter how much you know.
You know what, though? I think that people who don't have arguments with each other typically aren't going to get along very well in the long run. Like, because if they could resolve a big argument.
Oh, fucking shit. I remember fucking, this was fucking group therapy years ago. There was this one fucking bitch that was all like, well, me and my boyfriend never got into a fight. Never this, and it's so perfect. It's like, I'm just waiting for that wall to come crashing down. There's going to be one point where you're living together and it's going to fucking, you know, be the end all, ruin all, because you have no idea how to fucking handle it.
That's the early stages of romance or whatever you want to say.
No, it wasn't even early stages. It was because, at least according to her, the relationship had been going on for 5 years.
Oh, wow.
But, like, they had never moved in together. They don't know what it's like to live with each other and all this shit. And, you know.
Well, yeah, that changes the whole dynamic there. Once you move in, it's a completely different ballgame.
Yeah, I mean, when the fuck are you going to scratch your ass? And is scratching your ass going to piss someone off?
Yeah, of course. I mean, but I would just say that those people are going to have a fight about not having a fight.
Yeah, that's pretty much the way it looked there.
Mm-hmm.
It's just fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta fucking face everything that comes your way. And, you know, sometimes you gotta fucking admit defeat in something. Other times you realize it's a fucking draw. And other times you stand on top, you know.
Oh, absolutely.
And whenever you gone and fucked up, you gotta realize, hey, I gone and fucked up, and learn from the fucking mistake.
Sometimes it's a hard thing to do, but you're absolutely right. If you don't, you know, eventually it's going to catch up.
Oh, what was that, Hunt? Okay. Our kitten's acting like a horse.
Interesting. How does a cat act like a horse?
I do not know. She probably neighed or something.
All right. Well, I guess there really isn't that much to talk about this week, but I think we hit some good topics there. I guess we'll be back next week unless there's anything else to add.
Yeah, well, sounds like we had a good time here.
Yeah, there we go. All right, everybody. Peace out.
Have fun.
Yep.